I'm James Kirk.
I'm Michi Hoyer,
And you're watching simnews.tv.
On the wet part of the racetrack. Oh, he's sweet, left and right, and then trying to put Wallace up. That was so close.
Hello everyone and welcome to Silverstone for round 9 of the 2019 GPVWC Supercup Championship. We've seen a pretty close and exciting championship all the way through until now, and I can't imagine it's going to calm down anytime soon. We're just moving to qualifying, and Silverstone is a track where the drivers can really push the cars and show us exactly what they're capable of. It's one of the circuits that's seen as a real driver's track. Pretty much everyone loves it in some way or another, whether that be as a spectator or as a driver or as a, well, whatever the case, it's a great circuit. It's a classic, and I'm definitely looking forward to today's racing. Joining me in the commentary box is going to be my fellow commentator and also the cameraman, Alex Skinner. Good day to you, Alex.
I'm not live on broadcast, so they can't hear me.
Sorry?
I'm not on the broadcast, they can't hear me.
Okay, Alex is not in the broadcast. Never mind. My apologies. He is still doing the cameras though, so that is and the streaming, which of course is the most important job. Thank you for doing that, Alex, and that is why you are seeing the images that you are seeing right now. So a bunch of drivers now queuing up at the end of the pit lane, just preparing for the session to start. And the first two cars to go out onto the track appear to be the TG Racing cars going out now, with Kosmala ahead of Francesconi. This has been a team that's been competitive pretty much all season long, and Francesconi, of course, in the fight for the championship, actually second in the championship, coming into this round. Although equal on points to our championship leader, Jason Muscat, it's very, very close, and we're going to see their battle continue into today's action. Muscat also on track at the minute on his outlap in the Zederic car. And Zederic versus TG has also been a bit of a rivalry so far this season. They're separated by slightly more than they are in the Drivers' Championship, though, with TG Racing on 395 points and Zederic on 348. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, make sure you also look out for Sven de Vries, Sebastian Kosmala, and Dawi Tapper. Those are the drivers. Third, fourth, and fifth in the championship, hoping to close the gap to the big guns today. And Silverstone, of course, is a track that does tend to throw up shock results, so I wouldn't be entirely surprised. In terms of the Teams Championship, it's going to be Enterprise GP, who enter this round third, followed by Frami Autosport fourth, and Fusion Racing in fifth place. That's how they stand as it is. And we're about to see the drivers going onto their first qualifying lap. Sebastian Kosmala is the first to start. And you see him there flying through the flat-out Abbey and Farm. Wrong part of the circuit. There we go. Here's turn 4, the loop. And then it's important to get a good exit there because you exit through Aintree onto a DRS straight. This is the Wellington straight underneath the bridge. And through Brooklands. Quite a long corner. It's important to clip the apex as late as possible here to set yourself up for Luffield. Not the greatest entry into Luffield, but that's okay. Still looks to have been a fairly strong start to the lap, and I don't imagine this is going to be his fastest lap anyway. He will probably go faster later on in the session. Here's Copse Corner. Used to be turn 1, of course, but since then has been used as the shoot between turns 8 and 9, and then we flick through the Maggots and Beckett's complex, the most famous part of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, introduced in the 90s. And then you brake through Stowe. Tricky braking zone there because you are steering and braking at the same time. And then you have Vale and Club. And Club's been reprofiled in recent years. Well, not too recent, 2010. Meaning that it's double apex now, and the drivers take as much speed as they possibly can out of there. You often see them using curbs, and the benchmark for Sebastian Kosmala is a 132.709, which has already been beaten by our championship contenders, with Francesconi now going to the top with a 132.489. And Muscat going second with a 132.507. So only 0.018 separating Francesconi and Muscat as it stands. That goes in favour of Michael Francesconi. And Kosmala maintains third position for now as more drivers cross the start-finish line. A couple of other drivers on laps, just a couple just completing laps as well. I'm watching Craig Patson, who's been a teammate of mine in previous seasons, just coming through the final couple of corners. Not previous seasons, sorry, other leagues. Final corner now, and Patson's first lap will put him 5th place for now, just over half a second off the leaders. A decent first effort. I think Patson's probably capable of more, but then again, I think pretty much all of these drivers are capable of more at this point in time. Look at D'Amelio there, getting a nice slipstream down towards Brooklands. Although it looks as if it's going to be more traffic than slipstream in a minute, as he's got a couple of cars ahead of him on the road, and he'll be hoping that they see him coming. But whatever the case, continues around the middle part of the lap. What's his sector times like? Let me have a look. Currently not on a flying lap. However, drivers that are include former Super League driver Wopke Hoekstra, moving down to Supercup today to race for Zederik, in place of Dowie Tapper, who isn't here today. Round the final corner comes... wait a second. Okay, well that confused me. Never mind, Wopke Hoekstra is actually driving for Enterprise Pulsars and Dowie Tapper is here. The thing that confused me there is when I clicked on Hoekstra's name, it sent me straight to Tapper. That's very weird. My apologies. Just to clarify there, Wopke Hoekstra is racing for Enterprise Pulsars, he's 6th. Dowie Tapper is racing for Zederik, he is 8th. So, my apologies there. I think something went wonky with the game, but whatever the case. That's just how it is sometimes. Fabian Walter just about to set his first flying lap, crossing the start-finish line now, and he goes up to 11th position, just misses out on the top 10. My apologies, sorry. Okay, we apologise on behalf of the broadcast for the lack of car sounds. We do have them for you now, but yeah, we had slight technical issues and there was some investigating going on. That's okay though. We've got them now, and we are back to your normal, lively broadcast action. As brought to you, of course, by Alex Skinner, who is streaming and doing the cameras, and also me, Caitlin Penny. I'm the commentator today, as you can very well hear. Sebastian Kosmala, currently 4th place, just putting in a quick first sector. That's one of the quickest first sectors we've seen so far, actually. Not too far off the quickest overall. He's just exiting through Woodcut, a corner that's flat out now, and has been ever since they removed the chicane there in the 70s. Now into the Maggots and Beckett section. He will be getting a little bit of turbulence from that TCS off car a couple of seconds up the road, but hopefully not too much, and that car does actually get out of the way now. I think that was Saracino, yeah it was. Kosmala through Stowe, you can see his teammate Francesconi in the background. Francesconi is also on a flying lap. In fact, they're both setting very fast sectors. I think Kosmala fastest on average, although Francesconi quickest in the 2nd sector. And across the line comes Kosmala. This is going to be quick. It's 3rd, 132.6. What about Francesconi? He improves, 132.317. And Muscat spun it into the wall. And Muscat was going faster. He was improving. He was faster in the 1st sector, in fact. But it seems that he lost control. Oh no! He didn't lose control. Someone else lost control. And Muscat could do nothing but slam straight into them. That was one of the shift gear cars. And that would have been, let me double check that. Right, the cause of the incident. Now, where are the shift gear cars? I believe that was Alex Turnbridge. It was. Well, it's an easy mistake to make. It looked as if he was trying to get out of the way, but just was too hard on the brakes and spun it around into Muscat's path. Luckily, Muscat was able to make it back to the pit lane. And that means he will get another chance at this session. If he hadn't managed to make it back, if he'd been out on the spot, then he wouldn't have got another shot. But he will do now, so hopefully he can replicate the lap that he was on and finish it this time. Craig Patson's on a quick lap. He comes out of the final corner, crosses the line, goes 3rd. Brilliant from Craig. I told you he was capable of more. 132.603. And that's a decent lap there for the Multiforce driver. And Paterson's best performance of this series so far was actually gained last time out at Canada, where he finished 4th place in race 2. So 3rd place, as he's standing at the minute, is on course for his best result yet. However, this is only qualifying, and it's only the race that you score points for. Lewis McGlade, not usually a driver who excels at qualifying, usually much better at race pace, is excelling at qualifying this time. He's currently 9th and actually just set his personal best 1st sector. So if he can keep this together in the 2nd sector, this could be a competitive lap from the driver who's almost won on a couple of occasions this year, but has ended up being hindered in some way or another. Of course, Australia, his race was tragically cut short by a back marker. McGlade, of course, did win the 2nd race at the Barcelona round. That was in the wet, of course. Through the final corner now comes Lewis McGlade, and across the line to go. Well, slight improvement, but doesn't jump up any positions, so that's that for now. A couple of drivers texting in the chat, although I hope that was accidental. I can see that one of them absolutely was accidental, but whatever the case. Often that's just a warning if it's accidental. It is against the rules, but it's an easy mistake to make. Dowie Tapper coming down the back straight now, and that looks to be, yeah, that is a good 2nd sector. Good first and second sector for Dowie Tapper. Brakes down into Vale. Important to have your brake balance set up exactly how you want it there, because otherwise the car can just snap around on you. Crosses the line, opens DRS, 5th place, nicely done. So a big jump from Dowie Tapper, and that puts both of the Zederick cars in the top 5 as it stands. As are both of the TG Racing cars, so almost a Noah's Ark formation, pretty much only spoiled by the multiforce of Craig Patson in 3rd place as it stands. Pim van Ark also on an improvement. He's running 9th place in the Fusion car. Fusion running a special livery today for their home race at Great Britain. And they cross the line and jump, 4th for Pim van Ark. That's a nice lap there. And Pim van Ark is another driver who doesn't really tend to excel at qualifying, so that is a really good performance from him actually. Currently 7th in the championship, he scored 2 podiums so far. Yet to win though. But anyway, it puts his car near the front of the order as it stands. And we're just waiting now for the last qualifying attempts for our leaders. In fact, I believe that Francesconi and Muscat are both on laps at the minute, but they're both slower in the 1st and 2nd sectors. And Francesconi ducks into the pits, so Francesconi will likely... Well, will he go out again for one last attempt? He'd have to push on the outlap. Oh, he is going to. Of course, one thing he could have done is sat back and waited, but he is going for another attempt. Does Jason Muscat do the same thing? He's going to have to go quickly if he... Yeah, in fact, he's going to have to really push on this outlap. Muscat and Francesconi both going back onto the circuit and setting up for a final qualifying run. I hope they both know that they're going to have to push on this outlap, because they really don't have much time to get around. Craig Patson improving again. So Patson may well be a contender for this pole race. He's coming through Maggots and Beckett now, and he's one of only 3 drivers to be within 0.3 of a second of Michael Francesconi's time. That is not including Michael Francesconi himself, of course. Down the back straight comes Craig Patterson. Up into Stowe. What's his 2nd sector time like? It's not a personal improvement, and he actually runs over the white line on the exit of Stowe. So this won't be an improvement from Craig, and even if it is, he's going to have to ask for it to be removed, or else risk a penalty for the next round. Across the line he goes, and there's no improvement anyway, so don't worry about it. Although he does now go for another qualifying attempt. Let's watch Michael Francesconi coming through Vale, about to start his final qualifying lap. And depending on what his rivals do, this could be all or nothing for Michael Francesconi. Well, I suppose all or 2nd or 3rd place, which isn't exactly nothing. But whatever the case, slight lock up there, down into Village. Dowie Tapper jumps up to 7th. Let's keep watching Michael Francesconi for now. Jason Muscat also started his lap, I think. He did get through in time, however, he also has a little lock up into Village there. Into Brooklands goes Francesconi. I'll be able to see what his 1st sector time is. It's not an improvement from Francesconi. And I don't think it will be from Muscat either by the looks of it. No, they're both down. Muscat's lap so far fractionally quicker than Francesconi's. Only fractionally though, and Francesconi is flat out, I think, through cops. What about Muscat? Can he carry the same speeds? I'm going to be watching his throttle application. Not quite flat. And to be honest, I don't think Francesconi quite did it flat either. Although it's as near as you get in something that isn't a Formula 1 car. Sebastian Kosmala jumps up into 3rd in the session. Nicely done from him. We could end up with 2 TG cars in the top 3. Looks as if we will. Francesconi comes through club. This doesn't look like an improvement. He crosses the line, and Francesconi does not improve, and Muscat's in the pits, so that's going to be it. Francesconi takes pole position, Muscat is second, followed by Kosmala, Patterson, Van Ark, Hoekstra, Tapper, De Chutis, McGlade, D'Amelio, Lexo, Saracino, De Vries, Beavis and Walburn, and those were the top 15, and I'll get the rest of the order to you when we head to the warm-up lap, because of course then we can factor in penalties and things like that. But yeah, we're going to be heading to the warm-up session now. But yeah, what a pole shootout that was there from Francesconi and Muscat, with Kosmala almost getting involved in as well in the end. However, the statistics say that Francesconi took pole position by 0.180, so that is almost 0.2 of a second. Not the smallest of margins, but definitely not the largest either. A really quite a competitive lap nonetheless from Michael Francesconi. Definitely a lap that I can replicate in years of trying. Possibly even if I cut some of the corners. But whatever the case, great lap from Francesconi. With Jason Muscat on the front row. I always love it when you see two championship protagonists on the front row of the grid together. It sets up for a real showdown. But whatever the case, we're going for a quick break now, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes for the start of the formation lap and then race 1. See you in a bit.
It's gone off! Oh, no! Cannonball rolling! Who's completing it? It's going to get it's Jong! He's going to pass them both on the wet part of the racetrack. Oh, he swings left and right, and then trying to put what was that ball? Oh! That was so close.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Silverstone. This is still round 9 of the 2019 GPVWC Supercup Championship, unless I'm very much mistaken and it's actually round 8 or 10 or something, which has happened before. Pretty sure it's round 9. Whatever the case, we have just finished the warm-up session, we've seen the checkered flag, and we're getting prepared for the start of the formation lap. Of course, we're going to have the grid in their official order, penalties added. The race director has just posted in the chat that we're moving it to the race in a moment, and reminding drivers to be very careful in the opening laps. Remember that all drivers who set a time must start on their qualifying tyre compound, and that you must use both dry tyre compounds during race 1. No talking in race until all drivers have finished. Good luck. So here we go, the session is about to tick over. Hopefully my game will follow, sometimes it doesn't. There we go, it has done, jolly good. And it's going to be Michael Francesconi on pole position for these 26 laps of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, followed by Jason Muscat, Sebastian Kosmala, Craig Patterson, Wopke Hoekstra, Dawi Tapper, Lorenzo De Chutis, Luca D'Amelio, Giuseppe Saracino, Sven De Vries, Lewis McGlade, Matthew Beavis, Yanis Volburn, Pim van Ark, Fabian Walter, that's the top 15, and of course it's the top 15 at the end of the race who will score points. Outside of the top 15 and hoping to get into the point scoring positions are Younes Raivio, Ross Woodford, Ruben van den Hudding, Stephen Lexau, Stefan Gies, James Clay, Tim Straub-Lubin, Tom Davison, Michael Wilson, Alex Turnbridge, Justin Habermacher, Danny Robbins, and Oliver Ellis-Richardson. That is the field of 28 drivers, and we're preparing for the start. Away we go on the formation lap. Michael Francesconi will lead the field around at a pace that he dictates. And shows us the Silverstone circuit. This is turn 3, Village. We're going to see a lot of lockups and probable dives on the first lap into there. This left-hander is the loop into Aintree, I think technically the fastest corner on this circuit. And then of course you head down the Wellington Straight, opening the DRS if you have it. Watch for Muscat and Francesconi at the start, the two championship protagonists separated by nothing at all, quite literally, because they're equal on points in the championship. The gap that you see on the road is basically the gap in the championship too. Francesconi ahead of Muscat, and of course the second row of the grid is full of drivers who may well get involved as well. Kosmala and Patterson will both be hungry off the start. We've just been through Copse Corner, and we're heading now into Maggots 1, Maggots 1, Maggots 2, Beckett's 1, Beckett's 2, or Maggots, Beckett's 1, Beckett's 2, Beckett's 3, depending on who you ask. That final corner of the section there is known as Chapel, the only corner that everyone can pretty much agree on in terms of its name. And then you head up past the Hanger Straight to Stowe Corner, famous of course for a variety of successful and exciting overtakes. You had of course Verstappen and Vettel going side by side there in 2017. You also had, very famously 30 years earlier, Piquet and Mansell doing the same thing. And Mansell coming out on top that day in front of his adoring British fans. Final corner, Michael Francesconi about to line up in his grid box and prepare for the start of 26 laps with one mandatory pit stop here at the Silverstone International Circuit. Probably my favourite race circuit that there is. And onto the line we go. We're just waiting now for Oliver Ellis-Richardson to line up at the back. He had a penalty, which is why he's starting so far back. Gets it into position, and we wait for the lights now. There are going to be 5 red lights. They're going to come on one by one. And when they are extinguished, we will be underway, and the action will commence. 4 lights, 5 lights. And we're off. Michael Francesconi gets away in front. Muscat's got a poor start. It might well be a TG Racing 1-2 through turn 1. Cosmara goes around the outside and they very nearly bang wheels. Muscat's going to be on the inside of turn 3. And he spins. Muscat's got it ranked, but he's held it. Somehow he holds it. He had a slight kick of the brakes and that would have sent his blood pressure through the roof. And it's Francesconi leading from Cosmala and Muscat, and somehow Muscat's back on the tail of Cosmala. I was sure he was going to spin there, which is why I called it so early. And Cosmala holds the inside line. If Muscat can keep it there, he'll be on the inside for Luffield, and he's still there. Muscat keeps his nose in, and that is going to be a brilliant manoeuvre if he can pull it off. Very opportunistic. And he's going to be on the inside for Woodcut and Cops as well. Who's going to back off? Someone's got to do it. Muscat has to, because Cosmala's still there on the outside. Muscat has to back off. Cosmala keeps second. They're going at it still through Maggots and Beckett's. Whoopka Hoekstra is right behind them in the Enterprise Pulsar's car as well. Up the hanger straight. This is where it's all going to kick off, surely. Muscat has the slipstream, pokes to the outside. Does he get the switch back? No, there's a car on the inside. He can't get it turned in. Everyone's clean so far, no incidents. Cosmala gets a poor exit there from Clark. This is allowing Francesconi to get away, and I can't imagine that TG didn't plan this, or that Cosmala isn't planning this. Behind him, Muscat, Hoekstra and Tapper lead a long train of cars. Patterson almost 3 wide with the Tutus and Saracino there. And Sven de Vries also involved, sorry. Down the back straight and they're all going off. Who's that in the background? That was de Vries. Getting right over the grass. Somehow they all get through because Mahler is alive and in second place. Sven de Vries drops to 8th in all of that. Tutus goes through into 7th and then 2 by 2 further back. Fulburn also side by side with Saracino as the Tutus ducks across to defend from de Vries, and the Glade goes around the outside of Matthew Beavis and gets on the curb actually and gets sucked out wide. Beavis is going through as well, and someone spun in the background there, and it's Oliver Ellis Richardson who started right from the back. Going backwards into the gravel, back to the hanger straight now. More slipstreaming about to take place. Next lap, the DRS will open. Up through Stowe. Does anyone risk a dive to the inside of there? That would be very, very risky. And no one does quite wisely, except for maybe further back. We've got Lexo and Van Ark side by side. Lexo and Clay, sorry. Lexo holds that position in 17th. But it's still Francesconi leading by 2.5 seconds now, because Cosmala is really holding up the chain behind him. That's fantastic from the TG guys. Muscat 3rd, Hoekstra 4th, Tapper 5th. But the DRS will open this lap, meaning the cars attacking will have a speed advantage on the straights. A couple of drivers running slightly wide there through Brooklands. Muscat had a very slight lock-up, although just about got away with it. What a hectic first couple of laps that is. Van Ark there, passing Rivio for 15th. Well, let's keep watching near the front of the field as we head into Maggots and Beckett's for the 3rd time of asking. It's very, very tough to wind through this sector as usual when you're getting the turbulent air from the car in front, and when you've got cars behind you challenging and pressuring you as well. Up towards Maggots and Beckett's they head again. Up towards Stowe they head again. Hoekstra running wide, actually going over the escape road in all of that. Over the runoff area, sorry. But keeping it under control for the time being. Another lap completed. The order stayed relatively similar on that lap. There were a couple of moves further back though. And this is the part of the race where they all start to relatively settle out. Although that's all going to kick off again after the pit stages, which will occur in probably about 7 to 10 laps time. We're about to see the first of the scheduled stops. Look at Saracino now, side by side with Vauban. Vauban holding that for the time being, and fairly slow on the exit of Luffield though. Saracino might start to try lining him up again. In the background as well, that's Van Aken and Walter going side by side, but look further up as Saracino does take a look to the inside of Yannis Vauban through Cox. That's an opportunistic place to pull a move, very ambitious, but he makes it stick and they bang wheels. And Vauban has to back out of the throttle to avoid going side by side through Beckett's, which is not something you want to do. And that means that Saracino's got him. Now look at Luca D'Amelio poking out of the slipstream in the Fusion car. To the inside he goes. Vauban doesn't seize there in time. There's wheel-to-wheel contact. And Vauban gets out of the groove, out of the rhythm. Here comes Beavis. Beavis goes through it, off goes Vauban. Vauban flipping. My apologies. Yannis Vauban there didn't even lose a place. Now drops to 12th position. And Beavis slow out of Abbey. Vauban got flicked up into the air though over the curve. I was sure he was going to hit someone. Luckily didn't. It seemed that he just made very slight contact into the braking zone. I'm just gonna have a look back at that actually, because that was quite something of the likes you very rarely see for good reason. But whatever the case, more side-by-side action down into Brooklands. And another spinner, and it's Pim Van Aert off into the grass, heading up to Luffield, who's pointing backwards. And he's going to be gutted at that one. Dowie Tapper running slightly wide through Cox. He's getting closer and closer to the back of Wopke Hoekstra as it is. And D'Amelio and Saracino still close as well. As they exit Chapel, what can Saracino do about getting a slipstream? Raivio's off further back. He was running in the point and just loops it around on the entrance to Beckett's. And Matthew Beavis we have lost, and that was an instant, I think. Oh, it was coming out of Chapel. Beavis, well, he got it on the grass and then just looped it into the barrier. That's a weird one, but whatever the case. Very Massa-esque, yeah. But anyway, Beavis, our first official retirement from this race, which is a shame for him. And they all stream through again. Van den Hudding coming under attack from Lexo. That's over 14th position as it stands. Lexo gets the switchback. Does Van den Hudding? No, he's there. Just about he does. But look ahead as well. That's Saracino side by side with D'Amelio. So that was Saracino trying to come back at D'Amelio. Not quite able to pull it off just yet, but very, very close. Sorry, Alex? Okay, never mind. Whatever the case, we have drivers going at it all the way up and down the field as McGlade looks as if he might be about to set up Vauban as well. Vauban's been dropping back for the last couple of laps after his mega flight. Yeah, probably has a bit of damage from that. I can't imagine his suspension much enjoyed being slammed against the ground like a judge's mallet, or whatever you call that hammer thing they use. Van den Hudding now. Oh, almost running into the back of Walter. They may have made slight contact there because Walter went slightly sideways, locking up on the entrance to the corner, and Van den Hudding goes to the inside of Abbey. That's not a place you can pull an overtake, surely. Somehow they still maintain this, and look at Lexo getting involved. Lexo up the inside, they almost go three wide into Village, Lexo going around the outside of Van den Hooding, but there's Walter in his way. And look at James Clay behind them as well. They're going to go side by side down the Wellington Straight with the DRS open. And James Clay does get involved now to the inside of Lexo. Has to get out of it before the apex. No room there. No room through there just yet. So close though. And also a couple of drivers behind catching its on, and McGlade and Volburn. McGlade getting past Volburn on the exit of Cox. Looked to me as if Volburn just got a bad exit, and Lewis McGlade took advantage and leapt up his inside, makes the move stick. Now we get the slipstream involved, and look at Volburn coming back at him. Not going to take it, lying down around the outside he goes. Runs wide on the exit though. Oh, and a big crash in the background. Van den Hooding has been spewed off into the gravel, as has Lexo. They've both gone off in a big way. How did that happen? That was actually Van den Hooding coming together with Walter. So Van den Hooding and Walter came together, and Lexo spun seemingly as well. He got distracted. So Lexo spun out of distraction. Lit the rears up, but whatever the case, Van den Hooding and Walter coming together, and that may well be looked at by the stewards. Look at De Vries now at the inside of the Judas, wheel-to-wheel contact. De Vries holds it, and they very nearly touch wheels again into Luffield. The Judas stays ahead for the time being. De Vries will have to tuck back into his slipstream towards Cox. We have seen a move into Cox already in this race, although it's not a place where you usually see overtakes. However, the drivers have been so much more ambitious today than I expected them to be. That move up the inside of Abbey, my goodness, that got a few hearts racing, I can imagine. But anyway, oh, Volburn's off again. Volburn, who went for a flight a few laps ago, going off at Beckett. I'll have a look back at exactly how his flight occurred, actually, if I can find it on the replay, because he just appeared to snap sideways, and I didn't quite see how that happened. It appears it was contact with Beavis that sent Volburn absolutely skyrocketing. He was lucky that he didn't hit anyone or didn't flip over. In fact, it kind of looked as if he would dig into the gravel and go for a flight, but managed to get away with it. And we've had a disconnection, and it's Fabian Volter. So Fabian Volter, who we saw racing with who was it who spun? Van den Hooding a lap ago, has unfortunately disconnected from this race and become our second official retirement. That's a big shame. I should point out as well that another battle that hasn't ceased to exist has been that of second place, third place, Kosmala and Muscat, with Muscat still holding tight to the back end of the second TG racing car. Of course, if he finishes behind Francesconi, that means he will lose the lead of the championship. The sooner he can get past Kosmala and get after Francesconi, the better. Though just biding his time for the time being. Just trying to remain present and accounted for, and just make Kosmala feel a little bit uneasy. And he may try to gain advantage in the pit stages, possibly try to undercut Kosmala for that second position. We'll have to see, because I'm expecting the pit stages to probably start at the end of next lap. Would you say? Seems about the right time to get our first scheduled stoppers. Through Luffield we head again. Yeah, we're on lap 10 of the race as it stands out of 26. So I think we'll probably see our first stoppers at the end of lap 11. And of course you do have to use both tyre compounds in this race. You have the softer compound and the harder compound. The softer compound, of course, tends to be faster at first, but wear off quicker. As Van den Hudding there pulls an ambitious move to the inside of Woodford at Copse, but makes it stick for that 15th position and final point as it stands. But yeah, of course, the harder tyre takes a bit longer to get up to temperature, meaning it tends to be slower. But it's also a tyre that lasts for longer. Not entirely sure if tyre wear is going to be a significant issue in this race, as Eunice Rivio is our first scheduled stopper. Comes in quite a lap earlier than I expected, but that's okay. Not entirely sure whether tyre wear is going to be much of an issue. I can imagine it's going to be less of an issue than last time out at Turkey, and I say that through testing for the Academy Series. And also into the pits is Justin Habermacher, so a couple of guys making their first stops. Pim van Ark and Stefan Gies are doing the same thing as, whoa, Tim Straub-Lubin going for a bit of a spin into the barrier at Stowe, and he has crashed out of the race, I'm afraid. Who's got a speeding penalty, sorry? Rivio! Eunice Rivio, I'm afraid, has got a pit lane speeding penalty as Van den Hudding's off again. Van den Hudding is off the road. And has he got damage? No, he's just had a big loop. So Van den Hudding, it seems the rear end just broke away from him as he turned into the corner. And around he went. I'm expecting he's probably going to pit at the end of this lap to stick on a new set of tyres. But yeah, whatever the case, Rivio has a pit lane speeding penalty. It's an easy mistake to make. I did exactly the same thing here last year in the Academy Series. And because it's such a fast pit exit, you go into the pit entry, sorry. You go into the pit entry just after Stowe corner, just after the exit of Stowe. It means that often you have to very much slam on the brakes. You'll often see drivers locking up on the way in here. And that's exactly why James Clay and Ruben van den Hudding both into the pits, as is Tom Davison, who we haven't seen that much of yet today. They're all in the pits. But when do our leaders come in? Muscat may well come in before Kosmala to attempt to get the undercut. Kosmala will probably want to stay out a little bit longer to benefit from that clean air. Of course, he can't guarantee that Muscat won't come out absolutely surrounded by traffic. He will hope that is the case, and Kosmala will want to benefit from the clean air while he can. Meanwhile, Hoekstra actually took a slightly defensive line from Tapper there into the Maggots and Beckett's complex. Muscat again had the DRS. There are actually 3 DRS zones on the Silverstone circuit. It's one that is prime for overtaking. As into the pits comes Sebastian Kosmala. So Kosmala, the first of our big guns to pit. And he will be praying at this point in time that he doesn't come out in heavy traffic. Giuseppe Saracino and Lewis McGlade are also in the pit lane as it stands. And Kosmala stops in his box. Alex Turnbridge also into the pits. I'm estimating that Kosmala will probably come out just behind Michael Wilson, who's going through the turn 1 now. And that looks like a pretty decent... No, never mind. I was going to say a pretty decent bit of clean road from Kosmala, but not exactly. Sorry, Alex? Ah! Hoekstra made a mistake. Hoekstra had a big twitch coming out of Woodcote and through, out of Luffield, sorry, and through goes Jason Dowie Tapper into 3rd position. So a mistake from Hoekstra finally resolves that battle, and Hoekstra has now got Patterson and De Tutis absolutely breathing down his neck. And they will have the DRS as they exit Chapel Curve here this time. Yeah, it was just a big twitch from Hoekstra. Lit up the rear tyres and did well to hold on to it. That would have been a bucking bronco of a car. Lucky not to go into the gravel either. Oh, and Tapper does the same thing. Tapper has a similar slide coming out of Stowe, although gets away without losing any places. Into the pits comes Lorenzo De Tutis. He knew he was being held up by the chain, and that was probably the right time to pit for him, I'd say. Not that he needs approval from me, of course. Into the pits as well come Ross Woodford and Michael Wilson. And did I just see someone spinning? No, that was just me changing cameras too quickly, never mind. My apologies. Lexo in the pits as well. He's been running in the points today. As Jonas Raivio comes in to serve his penalty. A very sheepish and sorry looking Jonas with his tail between his legs. So Wopke Hoekstra under real pressure now from Craig Patterson, and I've just heard we have reports of rain on the circuit. Now that's interesting. We've had quite a bit of rain so far this year in Supercup, but apparently rain has been reported, although I don't see it. Yeah, I do see it. It's up at Stowe. Yeah, okay. Very light as it stands. Very light rain. I'm surprised anyone noticed that. But anyway, whatever the case, into the pits now. D'Amelio and Patterson. And I tell you what, if anyone is still staying out, which a couple of drivers are, this rain could really play into their hands, because if they leave their car out for long enough, they could switch onto the inters potentially. That is, if it gets wet enough, and gain a whole chunk of time, just as we saw at Montreal. That is heavily reliant on a couple of things, though. Firstly, if the track gets wet enough quick enough, and secondly, if the rain continues at all. A couple of other drivers in the pits that lap. Danny Robbins was one of them. Still, we're waiting for Francesconi, Muscat, Tapper and Hoekstra to pit. Kosmala and Vulburn are going side by side. Kosmala makes it stick, and Vulburn, of course, yet to stop. I was over sixth on the road, but not effectively in the order. Saracino also passes Oliver Ellis-Richardson, who's yet to stop. So a couple of cars going past ailing opponents. Michael Francesconi into the pits. Muscat staying out for another lap. And Sven de Vries into the pits as well. So Francesconi approaches his box. And I would be very surprised at this point in time if he goes on to inters. It seems to be too early. But will this play into the hands of his opponents? Not sure if anyone can stay out for long enough. In fact, and he does go on to inters. So Francesconi reacts to the rain. He goes on to inters. That's surprising. I don't see a spray yet from anyone, which is... He's come out behind Kosmala, so they've switched. Francesconi and Kosmala switch for the lead of the race. Kosmala leads the race, and he's on the better tyres at this point in time. The Inter surely won't be working yet. It's too early. Although then again, I can't feel how the track feels at this point in time. What does Muscat do? If Francesconi's made a gamble on inters, will Muscat do the same thing? And of course, the thought behind Francesconi's move there is that his tyres couldn't run any longer, and he needed to change tyres However, he knew that if he changed onto slicks and then it started raining heavier, he'd have to stop again, so he's hoping that it starts raining heavier pretty sharpish. He's dropping miles back from Kosmala, and now the rain starts to come down. Now it buckets it down. Oh my word. This may be... I don't know, we'll have to watch Muscat. He's in the pits, along with Sven de Vries. What do they do tyre-wise? Surely they've... I'm not sure. Okay, so Muscat gambles and goes on to Inters, and de Vries gambles and goes on to slicks. I say gambles for both because they are both a gamble at this point in time. It's very much a lottery. And Muscat is behind the TG cars. He's quite a long way behind the TG cars, so Kosmala has a decent lead at this point in time. But the rain is coming down quite considerably, quite notably at this point in time. Woolburn goes Inters. McGlade is not moving. That's interesting. Oh! And Clay smashed straight into him in the pits! What the heck? James Clay didn't even try to avoid him there, just smashed straight into him. That's bizarre. And they are both going to have heavy damage there. That's a really bizarre incident. And McGlade's heavily damaged and he's going to have to retire from the race. And he does retire. Goodness me. So we now have a chain for 12th position. We have Woolburn on the Inters, trying to hold off Wilson and Woodford on the slicks. The slicks still the better tyre, obviously, because Wilson is going to shoot his way up the inside of Janus Woolburn. Makes the move stick. Here comes Woodford. Oh, through Maggots and Beckett's. That's not going to work, however. Woolburn very nearly running wide and onto the grass. Tapper pits. Hoekstra is losing places. He drops behind Patterson but goes back up the inside into Club. Patterson had a slight twitch, and now Hoekstra has a twitch, and through comes Saracino on the outside. Makes his stick but goes wide. Hoekstra comes back at him up the inside of Village at turn 3 and goes through. So it's Patterson followed by Hoekstra and Achutis for 4th, 5th and 6th. And I hear crash sound effects. Who's that crashing? Oliver Ellis Richardson has massively missed his pit box. But who crashed? I think it was Rivio. Rivio is out of the race. And it was a crash with Tom Davison. Davison and Rivio have come together. Rivio spun it into the barriers. Davison got away unscathed and then touched with Van Ark. But whatever the case... Oh, James Clay's off as well. James Clay drops right to the back, and he had a big twitch at Stowe and ended up pointing backwards, and that's on the intermediate tyre. In fact, has it stopped raining? No, it hasn't. Okay, so it's still raining, just not heavily. This is going to seriously affect several drivers. We've already seen Hoekstra... we've already seen Woolburn losing places on his Inters. It's still very clearly a track for slick tyres. It's only slightly damp at this point in time, and Francesconi is doing very well to set the lap times that he is setting on these tyres. His last lap was a 1:39.0, and Kosmala was 1.5 seconds faster in the same team. That shows you the difference between the two cars at this point in time, roughly 1.5 seconds. Muscat, actually we can't really judge his lap. Well, Muscat's on the Inters as well, and did an even slower lap than Francesconi. This puts Patterson in a very good position, so long as he can Well, so long as the rain doesn't come down any harder. He's being followed as well by other drivers who are in a good position, including Hoekstra, Saracino, De Vries, D'Amelio and the Tutis. Oliver Ellis Richardson pits again. My apologies. Okay, Saracino and De Vries are at 6th and 7th. We're watching them now. And De Vries will get the slipstream down the hanger straight. He will also get DRS. Then again, Saracino will be getting DRS as well, as he is on the tail of Hoekstra, who is on the tail of Patterson. And this group is very, very quickly catching up to the back of Muscat. And the sooner they can get past him, the better, because if it starts raining heavier, the tables are going to turn very, very quickly. So, oh, Patterson's in the grass. Patterson runs wide. He's off. Patterson is losing it. And through goes Hoekstra. And through goes Saracino. Patterson drops to 6th. Through, oh, well, I thought De Vries was going to have an attack on the inside, and he does now. And De Vries goes through into 6th place. That was a big mistake from Patterson. Drops to 7th place in all of that. And through, well, De Vries is challenging Saracino now for 5th position. Patterson comes back at him. Although there's no room on the outside of Luffield there. You need to be a long way around your opponent to try that one. And look at Hoekstra now taking a look to the left-hand side of Muscat. And someone's spinning. Okay, De Vries had a big, big slide, but just about managed to hold it. I thought he was spinning. Never mind, it was D'Amelio. So D'Amelio drops to, well, he drops slightly further back. Let's watch Wopke Hoekstra here as he goes to the inside. And that, I'm afraid, is like taking candy from a baby. Jason Muscat not on the ideal tyre at this point in time. It is still raining, I think. Actually, I'm not too sure. I think it stopped raining. And Muscat gets past there by Saracino. Now, will Muscat try to hold those tyres to the end as Patterson runs wide and see if they last? Or will he have to make a pit stop for the slick tyres? He's going wide. Through goes De Vries on the inside. This is a disaster for Jason Muscat. However, a consolation for him is that his main championship rival Francesconi is in the same boat and may well start dropping down the order as well in just a couple of minutes time. Ruben van den Hudding becomes our latest retirement. Also out of the race is James Clay, so we've had a few more. And Van den Hudding's, I think, oh, it was a big spin in Beckett, and he retired after that. And also out of the race, as I said previously, James Clay, and he just pulled off the road and retired. Justin Habermacher is pitting, and he was one of the drivers who went onto the inters as Patterson is up the inside of D'Amelio. This contact is going round. Patterson loses it. D'Amelio is also losing it, but just about manages to keep control. Loses a place to Tapper and all of that as well. And Muscat pits. So Muscat, who probably should have done that a couple of laps ago, dives into the pits. Better late than never. Actually, in some cases, it's not better late than never, but whatever the case, I'm going to have a look back now at the Patterson incident. It seems... Okay, never mind. Hoekstra side by side with... No, never mind. Hoekstra is going for Michael Francesconi down the inside into Brooklands. And makes the move stick. And Francesconi... Oh, oh, never mind. That's a lap car giving way. Francesconi looks as if he's about to start losing positions left, right and centre. The tyres are absolutely not suited for this this circuit. And am I right in saying that Muscat is still on inters, or have the tyres just not loaded yet? That's a bit weird. Because on my screen, Muscat's still on inters, but that doesn't make any sense at all. Meanwhile, Sven de Vries goes up the inside of Francesconi and takes third position away from him. Muscat is apparently on super softs. Yes, I see them now. Okay, so it was just that my game hadn't loaded his tyres yet. My apologies. So Saracino starts to line up Francesconi, and this will be the most heart-wrenching feeling for Francesconi as drivers just stream past him like he's chained to a post. Here comes Dawi Tapper, getting a much better exit to Aintree as he would. Opens the DRS, takes a look up the inside, brakes late and goes through. 5th place goes to Dawi Tapper. Other drivers affected by this, Stephen Lexo dropping out of the points after pitting, as did, well, actually Yannis Vorburn was dropping back, but he has not pitted and he's gone now back up to 4th. D'Amelio passing Francesconi, goes through to 6th. Francesconi goes off. Next target, or next person to come through will be Craig Patterson, who's a couple of seconds back after his incident a few laps ago. And talking of that, I'm gonna have a look at that finally. It was actually 3 wide temporarily between Patterson, D'Amelio and Muscat, and then Patterson and D'Amelio just came together, side-to-side contact in Stowe. Patterson went for a big spin, which is going to make his tyres feel like 50 pence pieces, and D'Amelio is probably even more so since he was going sideways for longer, but whatever the case. They are both still in this race, running 6th and 8th, and now that's a lapped car passing Francesconi. Actually, it's not. That's a lapped car getting out of the way of Patterson. Patterson catching Francesconi all the while. We're on lap 24 out of 26, and I tell you what, unless Patterson makes a sizable mistake here, there's nothing Francesconi can do about him. Now, when I said, as Patterson does now pass Francesconi, easy peasy, when I said that Jason Muscat pitting was better late than never, to be honest, it probably wasn't, because if he hadn't pitted, he would probably be a couple of positions higher up the order by now. And I don't expect Francesconi is going to drop back to where he is on the road. It was probably better not to take the gamble for Inters, but then again, I think at that stage in the race anything would have been a gamble, so you can't really blame him. Certainly wasn't a stupid or uncalled for move, definitely not. It was... Whoa! As the Tutors goes... Wow, great save from the Tutors. Went very sideways. Oh, meanwhile, now that came out of the blue, that was Tapper going up the inside of Saracino. Now did Saracino make a mistake there? Because last time I looked, he was quite a way ahead of Tapper. I think he may have just got a slightly worse exit to Beckett's. Tapper went through. He's now up into 4th position in the race. Saracino down to 5th. Meanwhile, on Francesconi watch, he's about to lose place to Lorenzo de Tutors as well. We're now on the penultimate lap of the race. Jason Muscat passing Ross Woodford around the outside, goes through as he attempts to get back into the top 10, and that may turn out to be crucial, as of course the top 10 is the reverse grid draw, and if Muscat gets onto the reverse grid pole, that may well save his weekend. Well, it's not a weekend, but save his Tuesday, I suppose. De Tutors versus Francesconi. Of course, the more Francesconi drops back, the less chance he has of taking that reverse grid pole, which may also affect things quite significantly. And Francesconi drops back. And actually, what I said just a few seconds ago, in fact, about Muscat pitting not being a good call, I think I may have to take that back, actually. And side by side for third, De Vries and Tapper. Tapper's on a charge. He gets sideways. He very nearly touches Sven De Vries. And there was wheel-to-wheel contact between the two of them as we head now onto the final lap of the race. That was very close, and Tapper's losing it. Very, very close. Big save from Tapper. Final lap. And I think that may be Tapper's last chance of getting onto the podium gone unless De Vries makes a mistake. And I think the battle I'm most interested in on this final lap is Muscat versus Robbins, as they're catching up to Francesconi as they go. And if Francesconi makes a mistake on this final lap, they're going to be right upon him. Plus, Muscat versus Robbins may well end up being over a reverse grid pole. Of course, it is randomised between 6 and 10 cars reversed. DRS opens, Muscat to the outside of Robbins. Brakes later, tries to go around the outside of it, there's contact! Robbins keeps the place and they both stay on the road. And Muscat gets it on the inside of left field. Brilliant move from and Robbins almost loses it. Brilliant move from Muscat. What can Muscat do about Francesconi? He's charging and Francesconi is ailing. Kosmala now coming through the final couple of corners in the TG Racing car, trying to salvage something from the race for that team, and doing an excellent job of it. Sebastian Kosmala wins the race. Fantastic from him. Weaves across the line. Wopke Hoekstra is going to claim a fantastic second place after being demoted from Super League. Well, actually, not being demoted from Super League, pulling out by his own free will. De Vries is third, just about holding off Tapper. Now, Francesconi has dropped behind Muscat. Muscat has passed him on the final lap. Danny Robbins might have him as well here out to the final corner. And that pit stop from Jason Muscat absolutely paid off in his contact. And Muscat is ninth. Is he? There's a huge crash. Woodford involved. And it's Muscat 9th, Francesconi 10th. Woodford 11th. Robbins ails across the line in 12th place. A massive accident right at the end of the race. Woodford had to go for it. And just slightly misjudged it, and that is quite a finish from him. But whatever the case, what a finish there! And it's Kosmala followed by Hoekstra, De Vries, Tapper, Saracino, D'Amelio, Patterson, De Chutis, Muscat, Francesconi, Woodford, and Robbins, who crashed across the finish line. Then Van Aert, Lexo, and Ellis Richardson claims the final point of the race from the very back of the grid. Good performance from him, despite missing his pit box. And just missing out on points are Wilson, Davison, Woolburn, Turnbridge, Geese, and Habermacher. And our retirements were Van Hudden, Clay, Rivio, McGlade, Stroud-Lubin, Walter, and Beavis. What a finish that was! And what a fantastic call from Muscat to make that second pit stop. However, gutting for him that he went onto those inters in the first place, gutting for both of them, in fact. And it ended up working out for Muscat slightly better. But what a drive there for Sebastian Kosmala. Absolutely keeping his head cool, and in the end winning the race by 9.619 seconds over Wopke Hoekstra, who did a great job in second place in his first race in GPVWC Super Cup of the 2019 season. And of course, also credit to our other podium finisher, Sven De Vries, who had to hold off a serious attack at the end from Douwe Tapper. I think we're going to go for a quick advert break, by the way. And we will be back in just a couple of minutes' time for the race 2. Don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back. See you in a few minutes.
past them both on the wet part of the racetrack. Oh, he swings left and right, and then trying to put what was that ball? Oh! That was so close.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Silverstone, the international circuit for race 2 of round 9, and I checked and it is round 9, jolly good, of the 2019 GPVWC series. There we go. Easy for you to say. Whatever the case, we have a partially reversed grid for this race, and it's actually going to be Jason Muscat on pole position, meaning that the reverse grid number was 9. This is crucial because Jason Muscat is, well, of course, Jason Muscat is our championship leader, but only by 1 point, I think. I think there's only 1 point separating 9th and 10th, but I can double check that. But he is starting first, and his main rival, Michael Francesconi, will start from 10th position due to his miscalculation in race 1. This means that Jason Muscat absolutely has the advantage in both the race and in the championship. And because, of course, he is Jason Muscat, that means he stands a very, very good chance of coming away from race 2 with maximum points from this particular race as well. Trying to stop him from getting that crown is Lorenzo De Chutis, who will start alongside him in 2nd position. And following him will be Craig Patson and Luca D'Amelio. 5th place will be Giuseppe Saracino, followed by Darwin Tapper, Sven de Vries, Wopke Hoekstra, Sebastian Kosmala, Michael Francesconi, only 10th. He will be absolutely fired up. Ross Woodford is 11th, Danny Robbins is 12th, followed by Pim Van Ark, Stephen Lexo, Oliver Ellis-Richardson, Michael Wilson, Tom Davison, Yanis Bulburn, Alex Turnbridge, Stefan Gies, Justin Habermacher, James Clay, Lewis McGlade, Tim Straub-Luben, and Fabian Walter. We have 25 drivers for this race too, and that is the order that they will start in. Just going to double check actually the championship standings. I'm pretty sure there's only 1 point separating 9th and 10th in terms of points. In fact, there's 7 points to 9th place and 8 points to and 6 points to 10th place. Where did Sven de Vries finish in race 1? Let me just double check that because I want to see how close he is now. He finished 3rd, yeah he did. So he scored 16 points, which puts him 18 points now, I think, behind Francesconi and Muscat, leaving him with a technical chance of coming away from this race as the championship leader. He is definitely not out of this championship fight just yet. Excuse me, I miscalculated that because, of course, I didn't account for Muscat and Francesconi both scoring in that race. I believe he will be... Okay, I'll work this out after the race, whatever the case. We are about to line up on the grid. It's going to be Jason Muscat, as I've already said, alongside Lorenzo De Chutis at the front. Zederick alongside TCS off. Behind them, they've got Multiforce and Fusion in the hands of Patterson and D'Amelio. 2 TCS off cars in the top 6. 2 Zedericks in the top 6. And then, of course, you have the Enterprise Pulsars lining up right behind them. We're just waiting for the last few drivers to pull into position on the grid. Here they go. And just as in race 1, we're going to have those 5 red lights illuminate and then extinguish at the top of the gantry. Bit of a long hold, maybe someone's not quite in position just yet. But here we go, here come the lights. And when they go out, we will be underway, as we are right now. Go, go, go. Muscat gets a good start. De Chutis is alongside him, not quite into turn 1. And it seems that D'Amelio has got a better run on Patterson, although Patterson holds 3rd place due to the inside nature of farm. Here comes Tapper around the outside of both of them. Does everyone make it through the opening couple of corners safely? It appears that, well, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact in the mid-pack, but it appears that they have done. And it's Muscat predictably leading from De Chutis, Patterson, Tapper, D'Amelio and Saracino, the top 6. Down towards Brooklands now. Watch that dive from Sven de Vries up the inside of Saracino into 6th position. That was nicely done. Here comes Wopke Hoekstra as well around the outside, although he's coming under attack from Michael Francesconi, who's just ahead of our race 1 winner Sebastian Kosmala, starting from 10th. as they all stream through Cup, sorry. And side by side are D'Amelio and De Vries. D'Amelio on the left hand side, De Vries on his right. D'Amelio manages to keep them from making contact there. Oh, as Tapper goes off onto the grass, so Tapper's had a poor exit to that corner. Not losing as much time as they thought he would though, but look in the background as Kosmala goes side by side with Ellis Richardson. Ellis Richardson up inside, and also De Vries and Hoekstra. De Vries swapping places with teammate Hoekstra, I think, and going through. As in the background, this tends to be a real pinch point. The Bale Club chicane, and everyone makes it through, I think. Well, Geese and Turnbridge are a little way behind. They may have made some slight contact, but no one being massively hindered on this opening lap of the race. And they head through now onto another lap, lap 2. Bit of swapping going on near the back. In fact, there's a bit of an incident. Danny Robbins is off, Michael Wilson is off, and so Ross Woodford. They have all come together down into Village, and sorry. Okay, Tapper Patterson side by side for 3rd place. Patterson on the inside and keeping that 3rd place for now. Tapper's going to have to go for it again. Going to have to stick with him through the Maggots and Beckett's complex. We've lost Michael Wilson from this race as the whole field streams through Cops into Maggots and Beckett's. Oh! Saracino off onto the grass, returns to the road, just about managed to keep control of it. And it's not often you see someone having an off as big as that there and getting away with it. He's now actually making a move around the outside of Ellis Richardson, having to back out of it. Not quite close enough. Doesn't quite have the momentum for a switchback either. Another lap completed. Muscat already has built his lead out to 2.7 seconds. That's a huge lead, especially after just the 2nd lap of this race. Patterson and Tapper are fighting over 3rd still, as D'Amelio, De Vries. Oh, who's that crashing? I hear crunch sound effects. Oh, okay, a couple of cars off at turn 1, and Kosmala's one of them. Race 1 winners off. And it was a lag issue. Giuseppe Saracino has lagged straight into Sebastian Kosmala. That's neither of their fault. And I'm afraid Kosmala, our race 1 victor, has lost his front wing and will have to pull into the pits at the end of this lap. That's gutting. Meanwhile, Derry Tapper has got past Craig Patterson for 3rd position in this race. So a change for the podium positions, as we tend to see early on in these race 2 events. And it was actually around the outside of Brooklands, keeping it on the inside of Lovejoy. That was a nice move there. And now he's in a battle with Lorenzo De Chutis as they go up towards the Stowe corner. De Chutis going slightly defensive. Watch Patterson as well going defensive from D'Amelio, who goes around the outside. Possible wheel-to-wheel contact, running off and back on again behind Patterson. To be careful that he doesn't let Sven De Vries come through. Craig Muscat already building his lead out to 3.5 seconds. He is absolutely flying, pulling away by over a second a lap on average so far, as he knew he could do. As Tapper and De Chutis now fight behind him, and that of course will be holding them all up even more than otherwise. Lewis McGlade spun. Lewis McGlade has spun at Village. Lost it all by himself, but did have a touch, as De Vries has now. Okay, Francesconi has passed Wotka Hoekstra down into Brooklands. So Michael Francesconi already starting his charge through the order. He's up into 7. And his next target is Sven De Vries, who of course is definitely still one of the championship protagonists. He's a bit of an outside shot at this point in time, but definitely still a contender. You can't rule anyone off at this point in time. hanger straight again. Surely we're going to be seeing some moves this time around. This is the first time we've seen the DRS open. No, not quite there. Usually the main overtaking opportunity is down into Brooklands. Well, Habermacher and Walter going side by side for 15th. Walter has a big slide, and Habermacher claims 15th position from his teammate. Second place battle though. I can't imagine Tapper is doing anything less than 100% pushing at the minute. Here comes the DRS. He gets a better exit to entry. He's going to be in the slipstream. He pokes to the inside, and the tutors didn't move over soon enough. There's nothing he can do about that at that point. And through goes Dowie Tapper in the Zederick car, and it's a Zederick 1-2. It looks as if it may be a TG Racing 1-2 in race 1, but that ended up going down the drain. But it looks as if we may be about to get a Zederick 1-2 if Tapper can start pulling away and not make any mistakes. In the background as well, D'Amelio. Sorry, I think De Vries ran a bit wide there. That may allow Francesconi to get on his tail as they head through Baggett and Beckett. Out onto the hanger straight they go with D'Amelio. Very much one of the many fillings of a very tall sandwich, as it seems. Completing another lap, and still Tapper is ahead of the tutors, actually pulling away. 4th to 9th, separated by just 2 seconds. That's quite something. Goodness me. And you normally see that near the start of the race. We are, however, on lap 6. Still relatively close to the start of the race, but definitely not 5 cars separated by 2 seconds close. 6 cars separated by 2 seconds. And look at Sven De Vries at the inside of D'Amelio. Makes the move stick. D'Amelio tries to keep it on the inside of Luffield, although would have needed to make contact to do so. So wisely backside of it, De Vries goes through. What can D'Amelio do about possibly coming back at him? Takes a slight look, although that was mainly just trying to show himself to De Vries' mirrors. Through the S's we head again. Maggots and Beckett setting up for the hanger straight DRS zone, one of 3 DRS zones. Here we go. Up towards Stowe again. This is only really an overtaking opportunity if your opponent makes a mistake in Chapel. Sorry, what's that about Patterson? Yeah, Patterson is catching the tutors at this point in time, as my lovely cameraman Alex Skinner points out. That's separated by just half a second as they've got to start finish line that time around. So, onto the prime overtaking opportunity of the lap, the long Wellington Straight. It's the longest straight on the circuit, sorry. Despite not being the pit straight at any point in time, in fact. Out of Luffield, through Woodcote. And we've had a change further back as Hoekstra has dropped behind Ellis Richardson. Looks as if he just ran wide through Luffield, and Ellis Richardson was able to get up his inside. And Ellis Richardson, of course, started from 11th in this race, I think. I can double check that. But whatever the case, he is now up into 8th position. Oh, he actually started from 15th, so you were closer there, Alex. Yeah. So Oliver Ellis Richardson from 15th up to 8th. That's a really decent performance. De Vries and Patterson still close for 4th and 5th positions as they go down the start-finish line. And the gap between the two of them, less than 0.2 of a second. You don't really get that much closer than that without cars being side by side. Now surely this is an opportunity for De Vries. He's got a face full of slipstream. He's got full use of the DRS, but he's not close enough. Francesconi took a look at D'Amelio in the background as well, but was also not close enough. Out through Woodcote again. Into Stowe. Now this is the part of the course, of course, which is more tight and twisty. Well, I don't know about tight. It's certainly very sweeping and twisty. Still very fast. Silverstone, one of the highest average speeds on the calendar. But of course that means it's often hard to follow cars through that because of the turbulent air generated by their wings. And it's all about just keeping as close as you can to try to set yourself up when you can. Meanwhile, Yannis Warburn passes Stephen Lexo for 10th position. Nicely done. Apparently Ellis Richardson had quite a hefty lockup going down into Vale, I think. He may have flat spots on his front tyres. And that may well affect him. But he is going to have full use of the DRS heading down the Wellington Straight. Francesconi goes defensive and it's a late lunge from Oliver Ellis Richardson. That was Vettel on Bottas-esque. Absolutely brilliant. My goodness, absolutely solved the dummy. That was a beautiful move from Oliver Ellis Richardson. Move of the race so far. Francesconi didn't know what hit him. And my goodness me. And Francesconi, of course, actually appears to be struggling in this race so far. I was expecting him to come through the order much quicker than this, but he's actually just been overtaken. What a move from Oliver Ellis Richardson. I always knew that Ellis Richardson could do more in this championship. He, of course, won race 2 at Monaco and finished second at both races at Azerbaijan. I expect that if he competed this championship from the very start, he'd have been a championship contender. But he's missed several rounds. And is only really here to help his team, Enterprise Pulsars, in their challenge for the team's championship. But yeah, what a move from Oliver Ellis Richardson there to get up ahead of Michael Francesconi. Couple of drivers making pit stops further back. Tom Davison and Justin Habermacher. Of course, it is perfectly legal. It is perfectly legal to make pit stops in this race. My apologies, I've suddenly got a massive case of the hiccups. But anyway, golly, Lexo versus Van Aert for 11th place is close. There, right in the back of Yannis Warburn as well. He was less than a second up the road through the last checkpoint. Looks visually to be a little bit further up though. I think Fabian Walter just overtook James Clay. Oh, he did, because Clay had a big slide on the exit of Luffield. That's Walter taking 14th position, and that is within the points paying positions. Now, will any of the leaders make pit stops in this race, or are they going to run it the whole way? I'm expecting them to run it the whole way, especially since they haven't made any stops by now. It is perfectly legal to make pit stops in this race, but I normally expect it to happen with drivers further back who need to take risks, such as drivers outside of the points. That is, of course, unless it rains or whatever, but I don't want to curse anything. And at this stage in the race, we're on lap 11 out of 17, and it's still Muscat leading from Tapper, De Chutis, Patterson, De Vries, D'Amelio, Ellis Richardson, Francesconi, Hoekstra, Volborn, Lexo, Van Ark, Sorrentino, Walter and Clay, the point scoring drivers. That's how it stands at this point in time. And our 3 retirements so far were Wilson and Robbins on lap 2 after that multiple collision, and Lewis McGlade on lap 4. He had a spin all by himself and then it seems pulled off the road and retired. So just 3 retirements as it stands, and let's hope no one else contributes to that count. Getting close though. It seems that De Chutis is actually closing back in on Tapper. That's interesting. Tapper, who was pulling away near the start of the race, not lapping as quickly as he was. Possibly made a slight mistake on that last lap there. And in fact we have a long chain. It's effectively a battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Oh, it's been an incident involving Fabian Walter and James Clay. They were fighting over the last point pin position. Clay went for a move on the outside. Walter and Clay made contact mid-corner. Walter spinning around. Clay just about getting away with it, and Walter came into the pits. And Francesconi now is alongside Oliver Ellis Richardson, and his contact, and around he goes! Francesconi, one of our main championship protagonists, is sideways. He's just avoided by Wopke Hoekstra. Oh my word! He was coming back at Oliver Ellis Richardson at the corner that they went at it a few laps ago, and just came together mid-corner. Round went Francesconi. Goodness gracious. That was very, very good awareness for Wopke Hoekstra there. Knew exactly where Francesconi was going to slide, and went for where he knew the gap would be. Absolutely fantastic. Meanwhile, we also had a slight spin from Yannis Fulburn on that last lap. Whatever the case, yeah, fantastic avoidance from Wopke Hoekstra. And I suppose Francesconi remained as predictable as he could do, so props to him for that as well. It's often easy to panic when you're spinning and do a load of silly things, floor the throttle or whatever, and create a massive smoke screen. But Francesconi didn't do that, which is fantastic. Fantastic to see. And they both ended up getting through without any damage. Well, to their cars, that is. Francesconi's tyres and possibly pride may be hurt, and he now goes to the inside of Hoekstra into Brooklands, and that's a more successful move at this time out. Through he goes up into 8th. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back at Oliver Ellis Richardson though. However, Richardson just over 2 seconds up the road. That's pretty much unassailable unless Ellis Richardson makes a mistake. I keep going to call him Oliver Ellis Richardson, which is interesting, but anyway, he is running 7th at this point in time with Francesconi in 8th place. Still though, a long chain stretches from 2nd all the way back to 7th. Peters, Patterson, De Vries, D'Amelio, Ellis Richardson. Any of those are in contention for podium positions with 4 laps to go in this race. DRS open for pretty much all of those cars as they cross the line again. In fact, it was open for all of them. Gap remaining relatively stationary with the leader Jason Muscat at about 3.5 seconds. on average. However, they're pretty unassailable. Tapper there ducked out of the toe of the Tutus, trying to reduce the effects of the slipstream. You can see how desperate he is to maintain that second place. In fact, he's doing a good job of holding back this chain actually from his teammate Jason Muscat. Not entirely sure if that's his intention, but it's working. As Muscat continues to accelerate away. Well, not exactly accelerate away. As I said before, the gaps remain pretty stationary. Down the back straight, and again Tapper ducks and weaves. Just to reduce the advantage that the Tutus gets from his slipstream. The Tutus has a bit of a twitch mid-corner. And actually, the Tutus seems to be under more threat from Patson than Tapper is from him. Driver just getting out of the way there. That was Tim Stroubluthen. Hasn't had a great day so far. In fact, funny story that I won't go into too much detail in, so don't panic. Yeah, we it's okay. Anyway. And ducking out of the slipstream. And Van Aert and Voorburn going at it. In fact, I think, yeah, there's been a change of position. So Voorburn going through into 11th place ahead of Van Aert. And Van Aert coming back at him now down towards Copse. Oh, slight twitch from Voorburn mid-corner. Van Aert coming back at him on the exit. Into the S's. It's a dangerous place to have a twitch. Especially since all of those corners require you to be absolutely in the rhythm with the momentum, but yeah, just got slightly out of the groove there. And his only saving grace was the fact that it's pretty much impossible to overtake there unless there's a much bigger mistake. So just 2 laps to go in this race now, and again Tapper is just absolutely adamant that he's not going to give the Tutus any sort of advantage down the straight, except for the DRS, which the Tutus gets by default, just by being within a second of him. Absolutely fantastic defense from Douwe Tapper. Someone's dropping places, and that was Voorburn and Van Aert going side by side again. No one actually dropped a place in all of that, they just switched a couple of times. Voorburn still 11th, Van Aert still 12th. Van Aert taking a look into Copse. What I was actually going to say about Tim Stroubluthen, don't panic Alex, was oh, never mind, let's not mention that, because Jannes Voorburn has had a big spin, and also D'Amelio and De Vries have had a fight, and it looks as if De Vries has come out on top of that. But yeah, Jannes Voorburn had a massive spin midway through Beckett, so that gives Van Aert a bit of fresh air. Okay, so final lap now, and Patson's gone wide in the background there, has to take to the runoff area. The 2016 F1 line, as Alex Skinner says there. Whichever the case, De Vries versus D'Amelio on the final lap of the race, heading down the Wellington Straight. De Vries getting a face full of slipstream. Ooh, looked as if he was going to make a dive bomb Oliver Ellis Richardson style manoeuvre, but didn't go for it. I don't think he quite knew which way De Vries was going to go there. We have a battle for second place on the final lap. Tapper is ducking and weaving, just as he has been for pretty much the second half of the race. Bit of a switch there for De Chutis. That may be his last chance of getting at Dawie Tapper, as he needed to be close. He needed to get a good exit to for the run down the Hanger Straight. But anyway, here comes Jason Muscat. And off in the background, De Vries and Tamino have made contact. They've both gone around, and I'll tell you about that in a second, because Jason Muscat comes out to the final corner and wins race 2 at Silverstone. Dawie Tapper makes it a Zederick 1-2 by defending all the way from Lorenzo De Chutis. Fantastic from him, and great teamwork as well. Craig Patterson is fourth, followed by Oliver Ellis Richardson, Michael Francesconi, Wopke Hoekstra, Sven De Vries, Luca D'Amelio, Stephen Lexo, Pim Van Ark. Jannis Volburn is going to finish 12th position. He's just going through the final couple of corners now, but let me have a look quickly at exactly what happened on that final lap there. And yeah, let me just have a look at that. So they were going side by side through Stowe. That was a lap ago, okay. But they were going side by side through Stowe, and no, they weren't. D'Amelio lost it. D'Amelio lost control, and unfortunately, De Vries was the innocent victim out of all of that. That's a big shame. Whatever the case, De Vries ended up 8th, D'Amelio ended up 9th. And then it was Lexo, Van Ark, Volburn, Adacino, Clay, and Davison. They were the points finishers. Outside the points were Woodford, Havemaker, Walter, Kosmala, Turnbridge, who finishes now, and Geese in 21st, followed by Tim Straub-Luben. The retirements from this race were Lewis McGlade, Danny Robbins, and Michael Wilson. They all retired quite early on due to various starting incidents. But what a drive there from the Zederick guys. Muscat first, Tapper second. Muscat really dropped back on that final lap, not entirely sure why. I suppose he was just taking it easy because he knew he didn't have to push. And the winning margin in the end was 1.564 seconds. Pretty close, actually. Although it was never in any danger of changing. Don't go anywhere. We have a couple of interviews coming up with drivers who participated in that race. And well, actually, do we? Because we're using a different method of broadcasting today. If you could confirm how we're going to do that, Alex, then that would be okay. We're all right. Got it. Yeah, we do have interviews. They're coming up in just a few seconds. So what a fantastic day of racing that was. With 2 very exciting races at what I still maintain is my favourite Grand Prix circuit, quite personally. I've been there a couple of times in real life. I've actually watched the Grand Prix there in 2017. Great day that was. Great weekend, in fact. But anyway, less about me and more about the race. Sebastian Kosmala was running second in race 1. Ended up inheriting the lead after Francesconi took a risk on the Inters. And Francesconi ended up dropping back even behind Jason Muscat, who made the same mistake. But we speak. Actually, never mind. Okay, so we are first of all bringing in Stephen Lexo. Hello there, Stephen.
Hi.
So, Stephen, you were very much in the mix of the action in both races. In fact, you've seen a couple of big battles involving you. Seemed to be quite an eventful day, right?
Yeah, pretty eventful, but not that successful as I wanted it to be. So while practicing in the last couple of days, the pace seemed to be quite good, but today it just didn't feel that good. And actually, my throttle pedal had a problem, so I had to have a 25% dead zone at the upper end, so that wasn't helping.
Oh.
But the battles today were pretty great, to be honest. So the drivers had quite some respect in the battles, and I mean, there's one pretty dangerous spot at Stowe. There's a bump at the inside, so that caught me out one time. So I apologize for hitting the other guy there in the first race. I don't remember who it was, but all in all, I've been in the points 2 times today, so it's good points for the team.
So, of course, in race 1, you finished in 14th position, and in race 2, you finished in 10th, actually. So that's a top 10 finish for you. You say you're happy with those results. What what else can you tell us about the races? How did it look from your point of view?
The first one was pretty interesting with the weather. I fueled up for 13 laps for the first stint, and I saw it raining just one lap before I had to pit. So I went on to another set of super soft, hoping that the rain might increase, but it never did really. So I had to pit twice, go on to the set of soft at the end. And yeah, the last couple of laps were pretty fun, catching Giannis and 2 other guys. Giannis was still on the Inters, so he was an easy target and holding up the other guys. There were 2 teammates, and I think they were running pretty different setups. One of them I was overtaking so easy on the straight, and the other one was faster than I was on DRS, so quite interesting tactics. But in general, we struggled with the tires today. For the second race, I had so much issues with the tires at the end, and I was on the softs, while the others had pretty good tires on the super softs. So I think that's something we have to work on for the next couple of races.
Okay. So your highlight of the league so far has been a P3 at Monaco. What do you think it would take to get back onto the podium again?
Oof, some luck and a better throttle pedal, and yeah, some slight improvements on the setups and slight improvements from me. I made quite a lot of mistakes today, so I was actually quite shocked to be in P14 at the end of the first race. So I definitely have to work on myself for the next races.
Okay, well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Stephen, and good luck in your future races.
Thank you.
We move on next to let's bring in Dowie Tapper. Hello, Dowie.
Hello there.
Hey there. So, Dowie, how did the races go for you?
Pretty damn good if I'm honest. Race 1 could have been without the spin, obviously, but outside of that, yeah, just better than I expected.
You very nearly caught Sven de Vries at the end of race 1 there. Were you disappointed that you couldn't quite pass him when you crossed the line?
Well, yeah, kind of, I guess. The more frustrating part being that, as I said, I spun right before my pit stops. Judging by that, I should have been ahead of him either way, but yeah, it is what it is, and P4 is still a great spot to finish in either way, so I'm happy.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and that keeps Zederic very well in the lead of the teams championship. In terms of how the team works, what's the atmosphere like at Zederic at the minute, and how much do you tend to work together?
Excuse me, I had a little. Anyway, yeah. Well, right now we're sort of riding on a high, obviously, with the second 1-2 the season. But yeah, in general, we've had a few off rounds, air quotes on that one. But yeah, we've always exchanged setups, and I don't know. Yeah, we just worked together pretty well. Let's put it that way. And especially for Silverstone, we did a lot more preparation than we usually do, which thankfully showed. So, I mean, we just got to keep this momentum going and try and get ourselves back up the constructors championship again, or teams championship, I guess you call it in Supercup.
Of course, yeah. Race two, of course, you had a feisty pack of wolves on your tail. Of course, you passed the Cheetahs near the start of the race. Were you trying to hold them back for your teammate?
Honestly, not really. That sort of just worked out that way. I was just,
Worked
I was,
brilliantly.
yeah, I just kept my head down, and especially after the first few laps where I felt like my car was slightly better than maybe Jason's was. But then I found out at about the halfway point that I was using too much of my tires, and the performance sort of just dropped, and that allowed Lorenzo to catch back up to me again. And from that on, once I saw him getting closer towards me and within DRS, I just tried to keep the gap up until second. That's about it. I just kept my head down, focused on the exits mainly because those were the important bits, and that's really what saved me.
Okay, well, you did a great job in both races, and you should be proud of the number of points you scored today.
Oh, absolutely, I am. Don't worry.
Jolly good. We move on now to one of the TCS off drivers. This is Lorenzo de Cheetahs. Hello, Lorenzo.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So, Lorenzo, how did it go for you? You had a pretty decent day, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah. This time I'm really happy. Coming from a lot of bad races uh, where I can finish very low in the top 10 or even not making the top 15. This podium is like a dream becoming true for the second time this year, which I am lucky. Yeah, it could have been better, but I'm happy with the result. I'm also happy that with Giuseppe we took more points. So yeah, that's a good race and a good day for me and also for TCS.
Well, you should absolutely be proud of yourself and be proud of your effort. That was race two, of course. However, race one was where you set it all up by finishing eighth position. That was quite a hairy race with the rain creating a scare and with people going the wrong way on the strategy. Was there any point in the race where you thought you'd gone the wrong way?
Sorry, Catherine, I can hear your voice.
Okay. I'm not sure if it cut out there, but what I said was race one was quite tough in terms
I
of
can't. I'm
the.
sorry. I don't hear you.
Okay, I think that may be a problem on your end. Alex, can you confirm? Okay, so it seems that problem is on Lorenzo's end. If you could maybe. Okay. Lorenzo, do you hear me now?
Catherine, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, but I can't hear you.
Okay. It seems that we're going to have to move on now to Jason Muscat, our other Zederic driver. Hey there, Jason.
Hello.
Hey there. So, a very up and down day for you. Pretty much the definition of an up and down day, in the fact that you went up, then you went down, then you went up again, and you finished at the top. Are you happy with that?
Yes, I'm really happy. Yeah, race one. I mean, I shouldn't be happy because I took the wrong strategy. But if you see, with regards to Francesconi, I tried to stay on the same strategy as him, so I make sure I don't lose points. So that's why I pitted also for Inters in race one. Unfortunately, it was the wrong choice, but yeah, in the end, I still got him on the last lap, so good. And yeah,
You
race
did.
two was just managing the tires and keeping the gap.
Of course, race one set you up nicely for race two, but it was never a foregone conclusion. You still had to deliver, and deliver you absolutely did. Was there any point in the race where you were worried about I mean, anything, I suppose.
I mean, only first turns I was worried about. I was scared that I don't know we will make the same mistake that I did in race one, where I nearly spun turn three. So, but after that it was just first pushing really hard to make sure no one gets DRS from behind, and then just keeping the pace consistent and the tires.
Well, that means that you are now significantly in the championship lead, since your main championship rival had a pretty dodgy day, actually. Are you expecting to be able to keep this momentum into the future rounds?
I will try. We'll see, but it's very close between me and Francesconi. I mean, every race we qualify kind of differently, but at the same time similar positions. So it's really a tough call because top 10 is always really close in qualifying. So just make sure never get involved in accidents and get results.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Jason, and good luck for the rest of your season.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we move on to our final interview, we are actually going to move very quickly back to Lorenzo De Chutis, as I believe he can hear me now. Lorenzo, do you hear me?
Yeah, this time, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so the question I have tried to ask you 3 times now is, don't worry about it. Okay, so the conditions, they were tough in race one. The rain started coming down, but not really that much. Were you worried that you'd gone the wrong way in terms of your strategy?
I think no, because at the end it was the right strategy to be on the soft tires instead of the inters tires. But I was pretty close to switch to inters when I was into the pits. At the end, I asked also Giuseppe to come and have his words on that strategy, and he said, "Stay on soft. There's no point on doing tire change onto inter tires."
Well, I bet you're glad that you went for that now. So that was your second podium of the championship so far in race two. Are you disappointed that you can get back at Dowie?
Yes, because last laps when I saw I was catching him, I was hoping to going and get him, but at the end I couldn't just for 4 times. But I'm happy with the result. Podium is always welcome, as I said before, seeing my previous results, so I'm happy with that. Hope I can get more podiums also.
I mean, you very much should be happy with that result. It was a great performance and a fantastic podium in race two. And yeah, same goes for you. Good luck in your future races.
Thank you.
And last but very much not least, we bring in a certain driver slash team boss, although not in this league, obviously, just a driver, and that would be Wopke Hoekstra. Hello, Wopke.
Hello, Caitlin.
So, Wopke, how did the track look from how did the races look from your point of view, and what was the main, I suppose, main obstacle you had to overcome falling from Super League to Super Cup?
Okay, so I'll do the last question first, actually, I think, because then we, yeah, it's, well, I think the main thing is that the car is completely different. You don't have as much downforce, and the car just behaves a lot different in the corners. So you have to adapt your driving style to that, and I think I managed it fairly well. I actually like this car a lot more than the Super League car, but that's personal preference, I guess. Yeah, so it was all good. I still think I can manage the tires a bit better because at the moment I was struggling a little bit, but yeah, overall it was good. And the races, as you can see from my results, were pretty good. I think I scored more points these rounds than I did all 1.5 years in the Super League, so that's good. And yeah, to get a podium in your first race back in Supercup, for me it was amazing.
Well, absolutely, you did a fantastic job, and some of that, of course, was due to going onto the right tire at the pit stop. Were you considering maybe trying to stay out and run it longer until you could use inters, or did you not think that was an option?
Well, I was waiting for a few laps, but people around me were going in, and most of them were switching to the dry tires again. So at that point, I thought I could just go for the dry tires anyways. And to me, it looked like the rain wasn't increasing, and the track was only getting wetter very slowly. So I thought it would be a better idea to go onto the dry tires, and it was the right choice in the end. So but I definitely considered it. So I was staying out for a couple of laps, but not too many.
Well, you did a fantastic job there, and of course you were right in the chain in race 2 as well. Although that was slightly more eventful, especially towards the end. Talk us through that.
Yeah, let's see. I started quite well, and I gained one position with a great move, if I can say so, by myself. So I was happy with that, and I got that one position, but I didn't quite have the pace to stick to the back of everyone else. And every time I got close, I was struggling on the tire, so that was a bit of a problem. And then Francesconi got past, and then Ellis Richardson also forced his way past, if you ask me. And then Francesconi had a fight with Ellis Richardson, and he dropped behind me again. But I just let him go for the second time because I thought he would be able to catch up back to the train, and then I hoped maybe I could do something. But unfortunately, it didn't help. Did gain 2 positions in the end due to the crash in that fast right-hander. But overall it was pretty good, but I'm not really happy with the second race.
Still a decent number of points. Will you be staying in Super Cup for the rest of the season? Is that the plan?
The plan is to be in Super Cup, for the rest of the season, also with the team I was driving for now. We just need to, because I went down from Super League to Super Cup, there are some technical difficulties with the contract, but once that's sorted, it will be signed, and hopefully I can stay here for the rest of the season.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, and good luck for the rest of the season.
No problem. Thank you for the broadcast.
Talking of the broadcast, I think that's a wrap. So I'm going to say thank you to everyone who joined us and watched along with us live and chatted in the YouTube stream, and also to everyone who's watching afterwards as well. Thank you to Alex Skinner for being the voice in my ear and the reason I stop talking every few seconds, and also for providing you with these wonderful cameras and this wonderful stream as a whole. We definitely couldn't do it without you. Whichever the case, that is the end of this broadcast. Join us tomorrow for Super League Lights. Join us on Thursday for WTF1 Super League, and also in 2 weeks' time we're going to have the next Super Cup round, which is going to be one from Germany. Anyway, that's the lot from today, and I, Caitlin Penny, will see you next time. Let me just butt in quickly before the broadcast ends. It's not going to be 2 weeks because we have a summer break, so ignore me. Don't tune in 2 weeks. There's not going to be anything on. The German round is actually longer away. Is it 4 weeks or 5 weeks? Something like that. Whatever the case, you can find it all on the website. You can find the whole calendar, and my apologies for that. Whatever the case, this is still the end of this broadcast. Ta-ta.
He's going to get forward! He's going to pass them both on the wet part of the racetrack. Oh, he swings left and right, and then trying to put Morris up. Morris! That was so close.
To keep up to date with the latest GPVWC videos, click on the subscribe button, or check out more of our exciting sim racing action by choosing a video. For more information on the league, visit gpvwc.com.